And we are live with Fantastic Fest Day, question mark. What day is it a Fantastic Fest? I don't even know. It's Thursday. It's
7?
We're at the 7th day, right? We're like heading towards the very end of, oh no, not the end. We can't be at the end yet.
The fact that I'm actually getting tired means it hopefully is the end, because that will give you some time to decompress and focus on the next movies you need to watch for Halloween. Right?
Man, I was just posting. I was like, look, after this year, we get the whole month for Halloween. This is every day is Halloween in October. Don't fight me on this. We deserve this. We need this. Get a damn subscription to Shudder or some shit. Or now Arrow has a video channel out filled with horror. Like, do something. Like, seek out good horror. There's so much stuff. I know there's so many people who are like, I love horror movies, and they're like, what's your favorite? You're like, well, Scream, and so I know what you did last summer. I'm like, whoa, okay, like, not giving you shit if you like those movies, but
there's other stuff.
But if you launch with that, you clearly need to watch some other horror films.
Exactly. Like, look, it turned midnight. I changed into my Halloween hoodie, which also is a Fantastic Fest throwback from last year. Nice skeleton hoodie. You got to get that spirit down right.
Yeah. Oh, Tessa. She calls it Octoberween. I like it. Well, yeah, there's a lot of horror in front of us to watch, but tonight at Fantastic Fest, we had one hell of a horror film. The Indonesian...
Quite literally hellish.
Yeah, the Indonesian film, The Queen of Black Magic. Now, there was a film in 1981 also called The Queen of Black Magic, which this shares some of the tonal elements with. Like, there's a lot of stuff in terms of being very gory, involves black magic, clearly. There's a bunch of bug stuff in it. But other than that, it's really a completely different plot. This film tributes it even in the end credits. In the end credits of it, there's images from that original film, which was a deep influence on the director, Kimo Stamboel. Now, you might know that name. You probably don't. It's a shame, because Indonesian
If you've ever been to Fantastic Fest, you know it.
Indonesian cinema has really turned into a pretty amazing thing. So this is kind of a superstar mashup between the director and writer. Kimo was one half of the Mo brothers, who directed the film Killers, which is absolutely unmissable. And even more unmissable is their film Headshot, which also played Fantastic Fest and is just terrific. So, okay.
Why? Who's that?
That director, the co-director on the other Mo brother, went on and did The Night Comes for Us, which is obviously astonishing as well. So already,
and The Devil May Take You, which is about to get a sequel now, isn't it?
Oh, May the Devil Take You. Yeah.
May the Devil Take You.
That's it. Yeah.
The writer of this, Joko Anwar, is definitely like this. I mean, this guy just doesn't stop. He just makes movie after movie after movie and has been kind of revolutionizing horror over there. First off with his loose remake, much like this one, of Satan's Slaves. The original was also an Indonesian film in 2017, which is terrific, and it's on Shudder. And then more recently, Impetigore last year, which is great. I mean, I'm going, God damn, man, Indonesian horror is... It's odd that it's a lot like, in a lot of its themes and a lot of the imagery really resembles a lot of things from American horror. And sure enough, the more you read about it, the more they're like, yes, American horror is a huge influence on Indonesian horror. But there's nobody going, tone it down, we got to get an R.
James Wan could never.
Yeah,
though Kimo was also saying in the Q&A, he's like, our ratings board, they look at us kind of funny. Like, I can imagine some of this shit would have a hard time in even American cinema, which does have hard shit. If Indonesian cinema is not doing this regularly, they don't fucking know what to do with you.
I'm just surprised you guys have a ratings board, because I watch a lot of these. I'm like, damn.
I know here in the U.S. there's all kinds of stuff you can do in the shot, but prolonged instances of it with no break. This movie's all about it.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And I don't think it does it in a way that, like, it knows when to pull away. It
doesn't seem gratuitous.
And we're not watching Faces of Death or something, but it does give you more of what you like. And when it does the gore, it's so creative about it. I've seen overall, they'll use CG, but they're pretty good about knowing when not to get carried away about it, like shadowing it just enough that it's not an issue. The story of the Queen of Black Magic, this version of it anyway, follows this group of people. This guy, Hanif, who grew up in an orphanage, and he gets his wife Nadia, and their 3 children, Sandy, Dina, and Hockey, to go back to pay basically tribute to the guy who ran the orphanage, Bandy, who is dying. And he's joined by 2 of his friends from his days back there and their wives. So they all go in there, and there's like a slightly older couple running it, and then there's 2 young, like teenagers who are orphans who live there. And they're all, the guy in question can't even talk. He's bedridden. And on the way there, the family hits what they think is a deer. The camera reveals is in fact a person that they hit that they just didn't see. Well, so it's supposed to be just a nice little reunion, but it doesn't take long before insinuations are made of a dark past with this place, of a woman who used to work there, who had a insanely draggy broken leg. They're like, hey, she broke it when she was a child. And I'm like, that shit is like, see a doctor. What the hell?
The first 40 minutes of this movie are literally like some of the best classic horror tropes like that. It's like, oh yeah, kindly woman who had a creaky leg and you may have hit somebody. I'm just like, I love just like the tension you're building, like with as you said, it's very American horror influence. It's like I can see these ghost story tropes growing here, and it's great.
Antonio says her foot is a J. Literally, it's like the letter J.
I love what you were saying about the trope stuff, Ben. Like, we start classic drone shot of the road, pop music in the car, the family is spun. Oh, we're gonna go visit a dead guy, and 3 minutes in, we hit a deer. And in horror, it's usually a harbinger. Dead one's probably more of an omen, but the body in the ditch that we see 4 minutes into the film says it's party time. And then it kind of sits in the cut for about another 35 minutes. And that, I love
it goes up more and more with the older orphan girl, like telling ghost stories about this woman. It's like, here's the tape, here's the random found photo. And it's like, dude, you're layering this on so thick that you're gonna just like, then they do get a payoff when they go out. It's like, I'm not sure if I really hit a deer. Let me check on that.
Yeah, and that's when the movie goes shift into 5th gear as we find, oh wait, not only is there the body of the girl lying out there, but there's a bus off in the woods there. I wonder what's in that bus. And holy shit, right off the bat, that sequence is creepy, but it's when someone goes back to confirm what these people say they saw on this bus that I was like, okay, now I've got like bugs crawling up my spine. And
it does make you feel good about American horror protagonists that in Indonesia they will go back. I'll go back by myself, y'all. It's cool. You say a whole bus full of crazy stuff. No, it's in the weeds.
If he gets there, and like, I don't want to spoil anything, but it's literally what's changed since the last 2 people were there. Suddenly, just my skin just starts crawling. I'm like, I'm so ready for this, but I've told Chris this many times. I love horror, but I have a huge horror chicken. This movie, pretty much from that point on, has me pacing my apartment. And I was like, all right, let's do this. All right, we're going. All right.
But Bob, what you were saying, I kept thinking about this, and I've thought about this before with some of the other Indonesian horror. You can no longer just point at white people and go, man, white people are like, what is this book?
Why would you go check
covered with blood? Let's read it out loud. Indonesians do that shit too. And
another trope they kept alive that I like is traumatizing small children with stories they should not be hearing at all. Yeah, when our youngest protagonist gets a lay down on what's really going on, which he immediately jumps on everybody. Hey, I got some info, and you know what? I'm a Scooby-Doo this whole thing by myself. Homeboy was slick.
There's a little bit of the whole piecing the thing together, but they never go so far as to what I call the microfiche, which is in so many, ever since the Ring remake. It's like every single one is like, oh, we've got to go to a library and look on a piece of old microfiche at newspapers and figure out the mystery. No, this one manages to really, when you get those bits of, oh, here's the history piecing together, they do it in more interesting ways. They do it quick. They get it out of the way. And every single time they do, it is the lead into something even more horrifying happening and everything ramping up even more. I was very impressed with the way it pieced all that together. The one person people I would, other than people who know they don't like horror and really scary stuff, which obviously this is not for you, but if bugs are specifically something that you cannot handle, you do not want to watch this movie.
Yeah. They did that was the tryptophobia?
Yeah.
Tryptophobia with the little holes, yeah. That one, there's just like one scene that someone's like, let's go all out on that. I'm like, no.
That will be in Hollywood in 18 months, I promise you.
God. And also, speaking of the ring, Chris, there's a scene that's just like, hey, we love what you did with the ring. Let's show you up really hard in this one scene.
Yeah, I was going to say, Chris mentioned the ring, and it doesn't do it justice to call it a nod.
Yeah, it is I mean, using the trope of the female with the long black hair who's sort of appearing and flashing, and even a sort of direct reference to they're in the TV in a way, in a very different way. It definitely isn't like you just stole that imagery from there, because the way they do it is clever. It's definitely a tip of the hat nod. But there's a lot of stuff that this reminds me of, but in that way. And boy, does this go bonkers, bug shit, and no pun intended, bug shit insane in the last 20 minutes of this. Like, it is so much that I can see people who are a little more sensitive to horror going, I don't know if I can take this. Like, it gets super intense.
See, I love the last 20 minutes. As somebody who's sensitive to horror, though, when it gets to that last 20 minutes, I'm like, cool, this is the part where it's just at full speed, and like I don't have to worry about building tension. This is just me reveling in brutality and crazy horror, where it's like, wow, this is some straight up mad torture you got going on here. Somebody just sat there with a notebook going, how can we torture people supernaturally? And we need to do 6 different ways. Go. Mm-hmm. And I kind of adore that. I also wanted to say, like, this movie goes from that, though, to, it gets past that climax, and where it goes to, like, 3 weeks later type of thing, or like 2 years later, I'm just like, I'm even more uncomfortable that you chose this setting in this time period. I'm just like, that's worse for me somehow. I don't know why.
If it's not the next morning, then I'm going to assume things aren't cool.
Yeah. But, we're talking, I keep coming back to this, but about like, why would you do that? Like, go back, send the guy out to the bus. Okay, but then when you find out that these guys, and this isn't a huge spoiler, but the guys who went to this orphanage, there's a point where things are gone crazy, and one of them turns to the other, goes, it's happening again. And I went, you went back there?
Yes.
You brought your families there? What the fuck were you thinking? I mean,
I love his wife is like, really?
I've always said I am the guy who goes into the basement and checks out the noise, or reads the book covered in with blood letters out loud. But even I wouldn't do that.
Yeah. Again, even if his wife is like, wait, what do you mean again? The fuck are you talking about? Why are we here? It's like, yeah, that's kind of the point where you're like, I probably shouldn't have a family anymore. No.
But yeah, I thought this was tremendously exciting. There's a bunch more Indonesian film that is dropping very, very soon. A lot of it on Shudder. So I'd check out this month. There's at least 2 dropping this month on Shudder, both of which look really interesting. I haven't seen either one, so I cannot speak to their quality. But the way things have been going lately with Indonesian horror, it's just kind of, I'm in. Let's put it in front of my eyeballs. I want to see it. One of them being the one that you mentioned earlier, the sequel. What is it again? May the Devil Take You. May the Devil Take You. The sequel to that is coming out. And the first one I liked quite a bit. But yeah, we shall see. Now, we've done the review. Let's ask the hard question. Fantastic Fest movies in the past. What are the best ones you've ever seen that never got a super wide release? Whoo! What ones do you recommend that you can still find out there? You may have to look.
Okay, nobody's seen it.
Doesn't have to be nobody's seen it outside the fest.
No, but I mean, on the tip of movies that I'm dying to be released are Matty Doe's The Long Walk from last year.
So great.
I think is one of the best horror sci-fi ghost like ever. That I can't stop thinking about how well that plot was written out. It was just really well shot, all that stuff. That one hasn't found distribution. And also from last year, Pelican Blood is a exploration of child trauma and adoptive families trying to do everything to do right, and ritual, and trying to get past really dark things that have happened and keep happening is stunning. I think I can't remember the director's name right now, but her previous film was Nothing Bad Can Happen, which is another like spiritual gut punch, literally. But those are both from last year, but the ones that I've just waited to get out. Right now on Shudder, Rabbit is out. Is an Australian kind of psycho horror flick that I just think it looks just as interesting as the story is. It's got a lot of neat set pieces, a Winnebago Park, as they call it, with some singing sirens around a fire in a really neat scene that doesn't really affect the plot, but there's so much mood in that flick. I'll think of some more.
Very nice.
Oh, there's so many to say, and that's like not even counting the stuff that after the fact that was premiered at Fantastic Fest and then went on to be huge, like The Handmaiden or something, you know?
Yeah.
Ben, what do you think?
One that kind of came to mind just even talking about this is one that I still kind of bang the drum for, which is Rattle the Cage or Zinzana. It came in 2015. Not a ton of people saw it at Fantastic Fest, but it was a really fantastic thriller. And part of the reason I thought of it from this is kind of like with Indonesia, this was one of the first big genre movies to come out of the United Arab Emirates. And like literally, I got to interview those guys, and they're like, yeah, no, they didn't know what to do with the genre movies. Like this was edgy for them, and it is a dark thriller. I really enjoyed it. As I think Antonio, you said it just confirmed it is on Netflix, which I really recommend it. It is a tense thriller with a guy who's downright like Heath Ledger Joker level of sociopath, who's the bad guy, just terrorizing this guy. Really enjoyed that one. Kind of going on the lighter side of Fantastic Fest, one that it's still not seen the light of day anywhere I found is Lies of the Fox Fairy, though.
Oh, it did actually get a release. It's on. I want to say it's on Amazon Prime.
Amazon. I think it finally made it to Prime.
Yeah.
Okay, great. That movie is kind of like that perfect other side of Fantastic Fest, where it's like this is like light bubblegum fun, but it's somehow dark and weird and messed up. Where like she's being followed around by the ghost of a Japanese like 60s pop star who also may be a demon, may or may not. She may be a demon. She's trying to find love. I kind of like put it up as like Pink Panther style humor mixed with like the sensibilities of the Grand Budapest Hotel, and I kind of love how that goes together.
That's fair. Well, I mean, there's so many. I mean, a lot of which just recently are starting to get the cult attention they deserve, like Cheap Thrills, for instance, which is available in the 6-pack on the Alamo On Demand to people who have RSVP'd this year. That is so wonderful and fun, and one of the best midnight movies ever made, in my opinion. Then there's Shudder got a hold of Tigers Are Not Afraid, which I honestly put it up so high and compare it to, but pretty much at the same level as Del Toro's Pan's Labyrinth. It's like that level of excellent, just so well made. There's the mermaid horror film, The Lure, which is sadly deeply underseen. So I Saw the Devil, which is one of the darkest thrillers ever fucking made, for sure. And I always got to call out The Endless, which is so low budget and so perfect. In fact, it's lower budget and the feel of sort of it gives it a kind of cinema verite feel that makes it that much creepier when it starts to turn super surreal and odd. And I love that it is part of a shared cinematic universe by those directors as well. But some of the people I've been pointing out here, Golden Slumber, Milo Croze.
Boy and His Samurai.
Boy and His Samurai, so great. Still unavailable in America altogether. You have to get an import DVD of it if you want to see it, which is a shame because it's amazing. The Dark Hour, he says Rattle the Cage is on Netflix. I don't know.
That's the Zinzana one.
Pink Style, I don't know what that is. But there's so many films every year I miss a lot. And also, with there have been so many Fantastic Fests, I can't remember everything I've seen.
Yeah, I'm trying to rack my brain. There's some of those ones that like I have a notebook somewhere of like waiting for this to come out, and I just try to think about it so I don't get sad till I hear somebody confirm it.
There's one more I want to point out that I saw. I'm blanking on where it was, but I saw it was streaming somewhere. It was from like the second or third Fantastic Fest called Achi and Sissipak, Sipak for the last name, Achi, Aachi, and it's like a Eastern European insane animated film. I managed to get a copy of it on DVD, and it's so much fucking fun. It's just crazed nonstop insanity, and I highly recommend seeking that thing out if you can find it. It's really good. He says The Dark Hour is Cargill's favorite film. I thought his favorite film was Battle Beyond the Stars, but
I thought it was one of his films.
No.
I know.
Don't be mean.
I will say. I know. I will say for another one though, to call out that we've talked about on One of Us quite a few times because we all love it, is Terrified, which is on Shudder still. I think that.
Let me be clear. Not Terrifier. People always get that confused, which came out
no
this
clowns.
year. No clowns.
Terrified for 2017 or Atarados, I believe it is. I've looked it up to make sure. Which seriously, that is a movie that if you watch that like alone in the dark, you will start to fear the sound of dripping water and creaking floorboards in your apartment. You will think that you are cursed, and you might be correct after you watch that movie.
It is true. Jesus. It is entirely possible. And of course, I feel like we've got to go out by just throwing. Just so many people have not seen yet One Cut of the Dead.
Oh God, yes.
That's available on I think multiple streaming services.
Also on Shudder.
And it is okay. So trust me, if you're one of those people, you started it because you heard people talking about it and you're like, what is this shit? And we're just like, okay, got like 10 minutes in and tuned out. You've made a grievous error. Okay.
Yes.
Like that film is designed to make you feel that way for a while, for about 15, 20 minutes. And then something happens that makes you super glad you stuck around as you get to see everything that happened in that first 20 minutes or so in a brand new and awesome context. Definitely recommend that one.
I'm definitely watching that during the Halloween season.
It needs a rewatch for sure.
It's been too long.
Well, thanks, guys, for tuning in, and we will be back, I guess, tomorrow. We're getting towards the end of the whole festival, as I said, but we've still got more screening nights coming up, and we will be talking about, after the fact, they're doing a live screening only of one of the films this weekend. I won't get to see it till Monday, but I should be getting some of the guys together to talk about that one after the fact. They do one last round, and maybe we'll talk about Possessor as well, which I've also seen, and the new Brandon Cronenberg that they opened the festival with, also only in a live in the theater one. But I know a lot of people who are watching Fantastic Fest are not here in Austin or are still unwilling to go to a theater.
Everybody watch Short Fuse tomorrow night.
Watch what?
Short Fuse, the horror shorts program for Fantastic Fest tonight. It's usually a barn burner.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's we've had a great shorts year. It's been really good for shorts, and I can't wait to see what the horror shorts look like this year. So,
I still can't stop singing the "You'll Make It in Florida" theme.
Right.
It's ridiculous, but it's like Full House and Three's Company and all of those shows, Family Matters, all together. And oh man.
Yeah, I hear you. I have that same problem, but for something else. This is unrelated, and I'm sorry, but today I had to watch for one of the shows I do that reviews home releases, the movie Gotcha from the 1980s. You remember, with Anthony Edwards and Linda Fiorentino, which I remember super fondly. But I had totally forgotten that there should be a warning label that the theme song is like one of the most mind-wormy viral things in the history of music. I'm walking around all day going, gotcha where I want you. Head explodes. Jesus Christ.
They got you.
Yeah.
Much like Cronenberg films, my head exploded. I got scanned.
But you're not dead.
Gotcha. I'm not dead. Well, I'm tougher than that. My head's exploded lots of times. I go to Fantastic Fest every year. I'm used to my head exploding.
Cheers.
Yeah, that's an experience.
It is. We'll be back tomorrow. Thanks, everybody. Hey, thanks for watching our video. This is Oneofus.net. Like and subscribe to keep us going. Check out all the rest of the videos we have here on YouTube. Go to Oneofus.net for tens of thousands of audio recording podcasts that we've done reviewing your favorite movies and television shows. And you can even become a subscriber there for yet more stuff, including commentaries for movies and television shows. Join Oneofus.net, support Oneofus.net, like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.